What's going on, guys? So today, I'm going to talk about 3 things that I learned from prison that actually still help me in my business today. In 2009, I got laid off from my job. We were going through this big recession, and I ended up getting laid off. I was laid off for about 9 months. So while I was laid off, me and my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, we were living together. And one of the things that like my grandpa used to always tell us was the only thing that a man is going to get by staying home is babies and bills. And that's the truth. My wife, she ended up getting pregnant, and I didn't have a job, and I'm trying to figure things out. So because it was a recession, the places that were hiring were real limited. But one of the places that it's like always hiring is, the state prison. So I took a job working at the prison. Now, as soon as I get to the prison and I walk inside, like this is after training and everything, I get inside, I walk inside, and you hear this big gate. It just closes once you're on the other side. It's like, shh, boom. I remember saying to myself, I'm only going to do this for 5 years. I'm going to figure something else out. Now, mind you, leading up to working at the prison and while I was at the prison, I always been the type of person that would have like a side hustle. I always had something else going on. I was always selling different things and flipping different things. That's just, I don't know, a lot of the men in my family, we all do that. Like we all have this knack for going out and doing things, making money. Like it's just the majority of us in my family, we're like that. So anyways, when you first start working at the prison, you're gonna get the worst of the worst. So the worst of the worst is like you're gonna get the things that no one else wants. So I was working on graveyard because most people don't want to work graveyard, and I was working on the units. Most people don't want to work the units. So when you're working on graveyard on a unit where everyone's sleeping, and where I started off working, it looks like if you've never been to a prison or been inside of a prison, it looks like how you think it would look, like those old time these old time cells where the old movies where guys could like stick their hand out and look at the mirror to see what's coming the other way. This is one of the oldest prisons in my state, and it's like only one of the few left in the country that still has that open cell structure. If you're walking by, somebody could like reach out. Like a lot of them now, they're being built where they're not like that. And this one's so old and it's so like historic. Like a lot of the times they'll film movies and different things like that. I don't know if it was like the Butterfly Effect, something. A couple of movies were shot there, right? So anyways. So it's not like you could be out on the floor in the middle of the night when people are trying to sleep. So a lot of the time, a lot of people would congregate inside of the control station. So I'm maybe on like night 1, night 2. The thing is like when you're new there, most people really don't want to deal with you anyways. So they're kind of like hesitant on talking to you about different stuff or whatever. But for whatever reason, by the second night, everyone kind of invited me in and we're talking, and, they want to know who I am. They want to know a little bit about me and so on and so forth. And I forget how it came up, but this is lesson number 1 that I learned. I told them, I'm like, you know what, man, I only really plan on being here for 5 years. And when I said the 5-year thing, like people, they just started laughing. They were laughing and they were like calling each other on the radio, like, hey man, the new guy said he's only gonna be here for 5 years. They like put it on speakerphone or whatever. Tell him how long you been here. Oh man, I said I was gonna be here 5 years, 10 years ago. I'm going on, 15 years. I'm the next person's been here for 20 years. It's like all of these people have all said the same thing. They're kind of like laughing at me because, not necessarily laughing at me, but they're laughing at the fact that I'm saying the same thing that they're saying, and they've been there for so long. Like whatever dreams or aspirations that they had, they've already given up on. So they're laughing at me, thinking I'm going to follow in the same track. So one of the things that I learned that night was just be careful on what you say and who you say it to. That's the first thing that I've learned. Time goes on. I'm my son is born at this point. and now I have a daughter. My daughter's coming, right? So I've been there for, this is about a year or two in, right? So it's like, okay, I'm working graveyard still. I got to get off of this graveyard shift. And I know I'm still going to get a unit because I don't have that much more seniority. So the only place that I could go was really like one of the worst units, and no one really wanted to go to when it was on swing shift. Now, when I say it was the worst unit, it's not like the worst in the sense that people are getting stabbed in the middle of the night, or there's just it's more so just like a unit of just like unruliness. Like, it's hard to get the unit under control. So that's where I signed up to go. So I go there, and probably for like the first month, it was a little bit rough, trying to get everything under control and try to get people to listen. But one of the things about working in a place like that is that it's your partners, it's the people that you have around you, your supporting system, that makes the day. It's either going to make for a good day or it's going to make for a bad day. Me and my partners really got on the same page, and we got the unit together within about 3 or 4 months. It took us about 3 or 4 months to get the unit together. And there would still be like little things going on, but for the most part, it was a night and day difference from the time that I got there until the the 3rd or 4th month in. So we got the unit together, and this is going to lead me to the second lesson that I learned. Now, there was this guy, and he was a little bit older. He was probably like in his late 40s. And I don't mean like late 40s is older, but he's to the point in his life where he's just like, I'm tired of the bullshit. In his 20s, he was down for a long time. So like in his 20s, he spent a lot of time in segregation, or the whole, he has a lot of respect from the staff, and even like a lot of the inmates were there. But now he's reached a point where he's like, listen, I just want to do my time. I'm not really with all the bullshit. Leave me alone. Like, I'm not gonna give no problems, but don't give me no problems. He's kind of like that type of vibe, right? So this guy, one of the things that really stood out to me from him from the beginning was the way he kept his room. His room was immaculate. Like, he had a bunch of books, and he had he had just like magazines and legal paperwork, and he would just have and everything was in order. Everything was in order. Like, when he make his bed, he would have his bed creased up. It looked like he was in like the military or some shit. But he never ever gave me any problems. He was always really respectful. He never gave any of us any problems. So one day he ends up having to go to the hole again for something. I don't remember what it was, what he was going for, but he went for a little bit of time. He was spent maybe like 3 weeks or a month or so. But anyway, he's gone long enough. Well, let me back up. So he goes to the hole, and when you work on a unit, one of your jobs is to pack up all of the inmate's property and send it over to where they keep all the property and stuff. So you got to go box everything up, tape it up, label it, and then send it over. So he's gone for about 3 weeks to a month, and then he ends up coming back. Now, when he comes back, like, I almost like forget that he's gone, but he comes back like, okay, there goes so-and-so. So this part of the prison that I'm now in is not like the first part that I described before. The part that I'm in now is more, it's more what you would see on like lockup. So it looks like there's 3 tiers, right? There's one on the left, one in the middle, one on the right, and there's thick fiberglass, so you can see all the way down each tier. And then in the booth, it's divided the same way. There's a big window in the middle, a big window to the left, and a big window to the right, so that I'm able to see everything. And inside, like, I'm controlling like all the doors. I'm on the radio. I'm doing all these different things. So anyways, I'm in the booth. He comes back. He's like tapping on the window. He's like, I want to talk to you. Now, he wants to talk to me because during the pack out, like, I have to sign my name to say like I participated in doing his pack out. So I'm like, okay, I'll come out and talk to you in a few minutes. Maybe like 20 minutes goes by, and I come out and we're talking. I'm like, what's up, man? What's going on? And he's like, man, I've been down for a long time, and it's not too many people who did what you did. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, you guys packed my stuff up, and you weren't disrespectful when you did it. Now, we'll stop right there. So, the rule is that if I'm in charge of your pack up, I just have to make sure all your property get into these boxes. I can literally hold a box up to the shelf and just run my hand across the shelf and just dump everything into the boxes to get it done as quick as possible, and tape it all up, stick the paper on it, and then go about it. I was never like that. So when he says no one ever did what you did, I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, the way you pack my stuff, like, you guys were real respectful. You could have did what I just described, just threw it all in there. But we took his stuff and we put it in the box, in a humane way, right? In a way that you would want your stuff to be handled, because this is these guys' property, right? And he's like, I just want to let you know, like, I really appreciate that, because I know that you guys didn't have to do it. You didn't have to do it like that. And again, like, this guy's never really been no problem to us, but I let him say what he needed to say, and and I let it just, okay, no, don't worry about it. Like, it's it's all good. But what I didn't know was, at the time he was talking to me, what I didn't know was that there were so many eyes that were watching. And the thing about it is, through these fiberglass doors and fiberglass windows, people been down for so long, they can kind of like read lips, and they can pick up on body language. So even though they couldn't hear what we were talking about, they knew what we were talking about. From that moment, the little bit of bullshit that we had to deal with, as far as, just like the little petty stuff, loitering, passing papers and candy and stuff like that stuff probably cut out like 90%, where we didn't really have to deal with it at all. And that let me know, and this is the other thing, this is number 2, the second thing that I always apply to business. Always do good work. Always treat people fairly. Always treat people with respect, because you never know who else is watching. You never know what other business owners or what other people who can change the trajectory of your business. You never know who's watching. So you always treat people with the utmost respect, and treat people just the way that you would really want to be treated, right? I'm in that unit for about a year and a half, maybe another 2 years, and by this time, I'm going back, and that voice in my voice in my head when I first started, it was so loud. Like, I'm only gonna be here for 5 years. Well, now, I got 2 kids, I got a wife, I have a house, I have all these responsibilities. I didn't have half of those responsibilities when I started, but now I've accumulated so much stuff, and it's like that whole 5-year thing. That voice is just getting smaller and smaller and smaller as time goes on. But the one thing that's still strong, that's still ringing in my mind, is like, I'm tired of working these units. I need to do something different. So in the beginning, I said that working on the units is the worst place. It's one of the worst places that you can work, because you're dealing with all the bullshit. You're dealing with the daily stuff. You're dealing with so and so, they're on the phone too long, passing out mail, picking up laundry. You know what I mean? Making sure that people got their store, making sure people are not fighting because of the store, making sure you're just dealing with all of this stuff, right? So that's the worst. But the best place that you can work is inside of a tower. Now, in order for you to get a tower, not 90% of the time, you're going to need to have a decent amount of seniority. You're going to have at least 10 years and up to even get a piece of a tower. This is what the thought process is. At this point, I'm on like my 4th year, maybe somewhere around there. I don't remember the exact timeline. I'm on about my 4th year, and I'm just like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just gonna go ahead. I'm gonna put bids everywhere, because I want to get off of these units. Like, I'm tired of working units. I'm tired of dealing with the bullshit. Now, I got lucky, because in a month for a month, as soon as I drop those bids, I got an email that says, you got awarded this bid. I'm going to be working the tower a couple days, and I was going to work the yard a couple days. When I got that, there were so many people that were pissed off, but the thing about it is there is no favoritism. It goes based on your seniority and who put bids on what. So I get my tower, and the tower, probably for like the first 4 months, was real cool. Like, I love working in the tower, just because I could just do whatever I want. It was to the point where I could come to work and I wouldn't see nobody. Like, I wouldn't know what was going on inside. Like I would just be in there. I would be chilling. It's kind of like being at home by yourself. I mean, there's a couple things you gotta do, but for the most part, so I'm working in this tower, and it took me about 4 months for the new car smell to wear off. I'm sitting there and I'm thinking like, damn, like this is the absolute best that I'm gonna get. So a little bit more time goes on. I'm researching other little hustles. I'm selling stuff on eBay, and it's working out cool because I'm making money while I'm at work making money. Like, so I'm making money on this. So I might make an extra $100 a day, $200. So it's not anything that's really, I can't quit my job and just do that, right? You know, maybe about another year goes by and I don't even hear that voice. But by now I'm on year 5 and I don't even hear that voice that's telling me, that's saying, I'm only going to be here for 5 years. I don't even hear that voice no more. Like, it's so small. My responsibilities are so much now. It's like I can't even hear it. I'm sitting in my tower one day and I'm starting to feel like, yo, I'm never leaving. Like, I'm finna be here forever. And I'm sitting in there and I'm watching the Breakfast Club, and I'm watching this interview right here. And as I'm watching this interview, it's like he's saying everything in this interview that I needed to hear in the moment that I needed to hear it. So I started my company 7 years ago. Look at the date on this video, right? Look at the date. Look at when it came out. It came out 7 years ago. And he's saying every single thing that I needed to hear at this moment. I don't even know what I'm about to do, how I'm going to do it, but I know that self-employment, entrepreneurship, like that's the way for me. Like that's the way I got to go. At this point, I don't know what it is I'm going to do. I've always had the cleaning company in the back of my mind. I've even built it out in my head, but I never really took the step. I never really took the leap of faith to go ahead and turn it into a reality. The interview's over, and I carpool because I work. And if you know anything about prisons, like prisons are like way out. They're way outside of the city. So I got a carpool an hour and a half each way to get to work. But I'm riding home in the carpool. I got my headphones on. I'm not saying nothing. And I'm just thinking. I'm just like, you know what? I didn't come to work today thinking I was going to get that information. And that's the third thing. Be open to new information and where it's coming from, because you never know. You never know where valuable information is going to come from. Be open and receptive to listening to it. And whether or not you apply it is completely up to you. This is one of the things that I know. I feel it. Like I have to apply this information. I get home. My wife is, she sleep. In the morning, I wake up and I tell her like, hey, I think I'm about to quit my job. It's like, what are you going to do? It's like, I don't know. I think a cleaning company. I've been wanting to do a cleaning company for a long time. I'm thinking I'm going to do it. It's like, okay, well, I mean, if that's what you want to do, then, you know, I'll support you. So I'm like, fuck. Now I got to do something. So I ride back to work, carpool the next day. I'm sitting in the tower again, and I'm drawing up everything. I'm putting everything together. I'm putting how I'm gonna do this, how I'm gonna transition. I created my logo. I created everything, right? I wish that I would have kept that piece of paper. Yeah, I had everything figured out in my mind. Like I wasn't moving towards anything yet, but it was. I knew that this is what I was gonna do. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell none of my coworkers. I didn't tell anybody. But one thing I did do was I called down to the sergeant's office. Like, hey, can you send somebody up here in a little bit so that I can go do whatever. Right? I didn't tell them what I was gonna go do. They come up. I go down. I go to admin. I give them my 2-week notice. They're like, you're quitting? I'm like, yeah, I'm putting in my 2 weeks. Well, why? It doesn't matter. And I go back up. After I came back up from putting in my paperwork, I pulled out my phone and I took this picture. And I told myself, one day I'm going to look back at this picture and I'm going to know that I made the right decision. I took this picture with my phone. I'm in my tower taking the picture out, and I know that one day I'm gonna look back at this picture and I'm gonna know I did the right thing, right? So this video, I wasn't even gonna make this video because I couldn't find this picture. I was scrolling through like my Dropbox, and I was looking. I pulled up some old pictures. Like, damn, there goes that picture, and I remember what I said. So that's what made me even make this video, because I found this picture. But yeah, guys. So if you are in the position where you're thinking about quitting your job, or if you're thinking about starting a business, or if you've already started a business and you want to grow your business, you want to see how you can go from point A to point B, C, D, and so on and so forth, go ahead and click in the description. I have my consultations in there. Let's set up a time to talk. Doesn't matter whether it's 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or an hour. You know what I mean? Go ahead, set it up. We'll sit down, we'll talk, we'll come up with a game plan, strategize from you to get from where you are to where you want to be. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for you today. I'm always dropping jewels. Just make sure you're in position to pick them up. You do that by liking, commenting, and subscribing. Once again, my name is Marcus Crockett. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.